All right. Joined today on the Batcave Beats by Reo Move out of Minnesota. We're going to get started with him sharing a little bit about how he got started with music.
That's a long story. My parents they had a band. I grew up with a studio in the basement, so even as a baby, I was clicking knobs, turning knobs, clicking buttons. I was around people building mics when I was like 5 years old, so I've seen that process. And then slowly I got into playing guitar, playing piano, playing drums. And then I think it was around 2015 is when my dad introduced me to Ableton. So I have some experience recording on Ableton then. And also just my friends around that time, we started freestyling and recording on Audacity at first, just making joke songs. And then it turned into something that I actually wanted to end up pursuing more.
Awesome.
So yeah, just learning first and foremost, just playing live instruments. I feel like is definitely what got me into it a lot more. And just hearing bands perform and always being around music is another thing in my life. Like I grew up in a household where it's very much so like you guys don't have to play a sport, but you guys have to play an instrument. Like we don't care if you play football or basketball or whatever, but you have to play the piano. So looking back on it, I'm thankful, but as a kid I was kind of like, why do I have to practice piano every day? Like that was one thing that always kind of I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? But it definitely paid off in the end, and I'm happy that my parents held me accountable for, learning that when I was younger.
Yeah, no, that's super. I think that's a cool distinction with your music, just because I think so much now is just people sending loops or like creating loops on their laptop and not live music, which I think obviously you can still make good music that way. But I think understanding chords and progressions and things like that adds some abilities to like creating music and making your own sound.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, I mean, I'm not saying that rap music or music that you only make in a DAW isn't real music, but there's definitely a certain energy that you get with live instruments that is, I don't know, I feel like it's so much greater. That's one thing I want to get into more. Just recording more live instruments and incorporating that more in my music that I make now.
Yeah, and what would you categorize your music as now? Would you say like hyperpop?
Yeah, I would say like hyper pop, like cloud rap. I've been trying to like term like my music as like ethereal rap,
Mm-hmm.
kind of more so as like really airy, spacey beats with more higher end frequencies on the bass that people aren't as used to as they heard from more traditional 808s.
Yeah.
So definitely a lot of like grumbling and kind of very distorted 808s, but they're pretty too.
Uh-huh.
It's not just dark.
Yeah, it's not just dark, it's like a unique sound that you can tell that I can kind of yeah. Is there like specific hyperpop artists that like inspired you to go down this route? Like I know Break-Ins and obviously there's some others that are pretty big right now, but I feel like it's kind of something that's kind of been growing over the last like year and a half.
Yeah, definitely like I can't really name like one specific artist, but just sort of the way music has been moving as a whole. Cause like I make music of like any genre. Like this is just the music that I upload under this name. I haven't uploaded any other genres under any other name, but I've been thinking about doing that because I've made a bunch of rock music, like indie music or stuff like that. But the music that I typically like making the most is this seemingly like new age type music that it introduces new ideas that people haven't heard as much.
Yeah, and I think it's hard getting into the other genres that not that it's not with what you're going for now, but when something's new, I feel like you're more likely to create something that sounds new when it hasn't been touched or as mainstream as a lot of things are, right? So it makes it a little bit more unique to
Mhm.
your own sound.
Yeah, that's what me and actually my main producer were talking about. Another guy from Minnesota, AVB. We were really just thinking about like what can we do to create our own specific sound and create something unique because there is a lot of people and no hate to them, but it sounds like it's very much similar to like other artists already, and it's like why would I listen to this artist when I could just listen to like the main thing, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's definitely something to think about.
I think it is like now more than ever, it's kind of a tough line because with like sounding like other people, a lot of times you can advertise your stuff better on social media. Be like, oh, you like this person, that person, the other person. Like, listen to me. But that only in some cases, if you
Yeah.
don't have like your own thing that you're doing with it, I think it's hard, like you said, to have your own following when they can just listen to somebody like the person you're saying you sound like they can just go listen to them. So it's that distinction makes a big difference.
Yeah, like that's what I feel like creates bigger artists is okay, they have this specific sound, I'm gonna tap into their music because it gives me this certain energy. Like I don't know, like Yeet is a good
Hmm.
example of someone who broke in a completely new sound, and that's why a lot of people listen to him because it has a specific energy to it that you're not getting from like King Von or XXX or Juice World. It has a different characteristic to it that makes people want to listen to it for him specifically and for his production.
Yeah. No, I think another one that did that well was Takashi 69, even though it was like really bad. Like, looking back at it, like he
Yeah.
like nobody cared. Well, not nobody, but a lot of people didn't even care if they liked the music. They just wanted to hear something different, and it was something that was different that wasn't really out there at the time.
I mean, like his music, like people can say, oh, his lyricism or this or blah, 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 but it has a lot of energy
Hmm.
into it. And at the end of the day, that's what music is. It's like when people were first creating music and it was just rhythm and they're just slamming away on drums, that's why people did it. It had energy.
Yeah.
I mean, when you break things down to the most basic level, I mean, in my opinion, music is just energy, it's just sound waves. I think some people like to, I mean, you can add a lot more meaning with lyrics to it, but at the end of the day, the lyrics are part of the energy. And if you create a specific sound, you can, like, you don't have to rap about sad things for it to be a sad song necessarily.
Hmm. And I think there are songs that even oh, I'm blanking on the name now. But the song that you have on Spotify that's like your most played song that it has like 5,000 streams, I think, and it's off your album that you dropped last year. Um,
Yeah, the spirit
yeah,
of
Spirit of
love.
Love, that's what it. Yeah, there's not a whole
Yeah.
lot of lyrics in there, but it takes you through this progression of energy, right, where it like builds up, and where that could be played, and people can relate to the energy in that song, even though there's not a whole lot of lyrics, right?
Hmm.
What?
Yeah, it's definitely just like I'm thinking about, what makes people move, what makes people get excited, and I think that song specifically at a concert would be very exciting for people to listen to and dance to. It would give a crowd a lot of energy. And I don't know, I'm definitely excited to start performing more of my music because I've been taking like recording music and producing music pretty seriously for the last 5 years, but never really uploading it because I don't know. I think that's one of my downfalls is I'm pretty bad at uploading music. Like I probably have 3 or 4 thousand finished songs that I'm just like, what do I do with them now? Like what album? What do I release them this way or that way? And